Anyone else, don't be shy. We are in a family now. We are family, solar family.
Hi, how are you?
Hello.
I have a little problems. I choose a soft material, a soft cardboard, and well, when I was trying it out in the outside, it folds, and for the pan, for the attachments, so it was like a sad tree, but it reached almost 70 Celsius degrees, and it was awesome. I couldn't touch it, so it was good.
Okay, thank you. This is true. It depends always on the material you find. Sometimes it's a bit, the whole thing is moving. The cooker you made, the fun panel, it has a tendency to get wider and wider. Once I put a string between the left and the right ear to keep it in shape, and it worked a bit better.
Yeah, I did the same.
Okay.
I use cloth packs to clip them together. Yeah.
Thanks. Other experiences about making it? About the frustration with bad weather?
Dimitri, did you want to say something?
Yeah, Lucas.
For me, it was a real challenge because I never done a salt cooker before. Then I found one of the links you gave us per email. I looked for one that I thought would be the simplest to do, but it turned out to be quite complicated because the model was a square box, and I only found a rectangle box, and I think it was too big and too hard. I had lots of troubles folding it, and because of the weather, I couldn't try it out, and I'm not sure if it works or not. It's quite a disappointment because I had so much work so far for nothing.
Yeah, up to now, you can have
to
now
now.
you have another half year to try it out until we meet again in Kisk and just do the solar cooking all together. Don't give up, please. Don't give up.
Don't give up. Yeah.
I won't. Don't worry, I won't.
Try to melt some chocolates with it. Put a biscuit, put a piece of chocolate, just melt it, and it melts means your cooker is working. Okay? Yeah.
That is true.
Hello, I'm using the plastic that on the top for keep the heat.
Okay.
Yeah, Chansak.
Yeah.
What kind of plastic, or where did you get it from?
From the stationery store. This.
Oh, okay.
And design for this for on the top on the box can.
Okay. To keep the heat in. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, the box cookers, they need a transparent lid. Can be plastic or glass. Thank you. Who else?
Yeah, I can share my experience.
Please.
Yeah, go ahead, Jimmy.
Yeah. My experience with Miss Lau is the first time you built this. With a cupboard and this, I was thinking that can we cook using this thing? Funny, but it actually work because the weather in Malaysia is quite hot. And what happened is it's quite fun when starting building this with the board and everything. And we also try that the other material is not really working, but this is still working. And with the same method we apply, we teach our junior scout, and they can do it. I think in future I can share some picture that we some of solar courses for the scout been done. And the same method, same material, so it quite success. So I'm very sure that the junior scout, but not the Cub Scout, junior scout can do it. So it's no problem for senior scout and also the rover scout to build the cooker like this. So well done for the design. Thank you, Ms. Lau.
Actually, it's the Copenhagen. The design comes from Sharon Clausen. Yeah, I learned that in KISS. Yeah. Thank you, Jimmy.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Miss Lau.
One more experience to share. Anyone? Or should we go on? Oh yes, there's one hand. EC wants to tell something.
Okay. Hi.
Yes.
Great experience when I had, this is my first time to make the solar cooker box. And,
Yeah.
when I was trying to analyze the design, the inner box was a straight form, and then I tried to modify the inside part and shape it into like a parabolic, thinking of it might the heat will concentrate on the container. Then I think it worked because the egg got cooked. One thing I observed is that the before putting the say the egg, or if you want to cook something, you have to preheat the container first, so that the cooking time will be lesser. I think I did a great job with that.
Show us your cooker.
Thanks.
Yes.
We have seen a picture of it.
Yeah.
It's the one where you have your infrared thermometer, yeah?
Oh, okay. Got it. Yeah. The one that has a temperature.
Do
Yeah,
you have a
that's it.
glass lid? There's a glass lid.
I
on
did
the
not
cooker?
put the glass. That's the problem. Because I
Okay.
got find
Oh.
any yes.
Okay.
Cover.
I was not sure.
Concentrate
It
the
looked
heat.
very, very clean. It looked so clean, your glass. There is not.
Yeah, it looks like it has a glass, but it doesn't have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you
Yeah,
very
okay.
much. After a few slides and a few pictures from other cookers and other situations, we will ask you again, how would you make your cooker more efficient, which will be in maybe 15 minutes. So now I will have the slides back, please, Cynthia, and show you a few ideas and pictures. And Lau also will show a few pictures about her technical tests in Malaysia. Yeah, next, please. There you go. Okay, the principles. You were experimenting with the solar cookers, and the solar cookers, they all use some principles, not all use all of them. But the principles are the ones I wrote down on this slide. The first principle is most cookers try to concentrate the light at some point using mirrors, or some use lenses, but usually with mirrors. You try to have the light concentrated at one point where will be the cooking pot, of course. The second principle is, if you want to absorb sunlight, you have to paint the pot or whatever you want to heat black. If it's not black, you will not get the same efficiency, definitely. So concentrate the light and then make it happen to absorb it, to make it hot, to make the cooking pot hot by having it black. Some cookers try to retain the heat with insulation, because your heat, you don't create so much heat, so we have to be careful not to lose it with insulation. And the box cookers, this is number 4, they use the greenhouse effect, like any plant's greenhouse or the greenhouse effect we know from climate and earth, is that you create a house where the light can get in through the window. The light gets transformed into heat inside, and the heat cannot get out. You trap the heat because you have the window which does not let the heat out. So the fourth principle, number 4, is to use a greenhouse. And what I didn't write down, but maybe also is, we could call it a principle, is that the bigger, the more power you have. The size of a cooker has an effect on its efficiency. Okay, I see there is a discussion going on in the chat. This is nice. Next slide, please. Okay. This is a bit something, a remark in between. The absolute temperature of your cooker, which you can measure, is not the same as cooking power, because everybody in internet, everybody tells my cooker makes 150 degrees, my cooker makes 200 degrees, and so on. This is not the main value for cooking. For cooking, we want to feed a family. So usually if a cooker is rather large, you can make a lot of rice. You can have more power to feed the family, while you can use like the right picture. You can use a lens. You can burn 1 grain of rice. You have a very hot temperature, but this is not about cooking. So don't mix up your cooking power of a cooker and the efficiency and the comfort of having a solar cooker with just having a very high number of temperature. Yeah, thank you. Next slide, please. A few pictures about the principles, 3 pictures. These big cookers, they use very good mirrors. They use very high surface to concentrate the light on a very small spot. So they use the first principle a lot, but they don't insulate too much, and they don't use greenhouse. Because one strategy is to use just a lot of very good mirrors. Next slide, please. The other extreme are the box cookers, where you use the strategy of the greenhouse, and you don't have a lot of concentration. You just have 1 additional mirror, very little using first principle, but you count on insulation and greenhouse for the cooking. And the last slide. The next slide, please. Or anything in between. Like there's so many, there's place for lots of innovation. You can make your own solar cooker. This is really great in solar cooking. You can make any design. A lot of them work for easy things, and they apply some of these principles. They can be any shape. They can be triangular. They can be round. Can be a cooking bag. Can be a suitcase. So there's place to have lots of innovation and have a lot of fun constructing and testing your cooker. Okay, next slide will be about cooking tips. I personally started solar cooking. I got introduced to solar cooking in 1991, and I've been solar cooking many years, and I do it. I'm living now in Mexico in a very good situation because I can cook many days of the year. So from my experience, a few cooking tips to make your life a bit easier when you try out. Tip number 1 is to start early. Always when we are solar cooking, it takes more time. Don't cook in the last minute. Put your things out at 9 in the morning, and then you don't have to care, because you never know, there might be clouds showing up. Maybe you think the sun is hot, but it's not that hot as you expected. It will take longer. So make your life easier by putting your things out in the cooker very early in the morning and keep it warm later. The next tip is don't overload your cooker. The less thing you put inside, the easier it is to cook. The better, the faster it cooks. So for instance, if you make a soup, you rather put the vegetable, the things, maybe your meat, and little water, and add water later. Don't put lots of water, which will just take much more time. So don't overload your cooker according to its size. Tip number 3 is if you want to cook vegetables or potatoes, you don't have them to fill the pot with water completely. It's enough to put the vegetables in the pot and 1 inch of water in your pot to make it humid, and they will cook in the steam. They will be rather steamed than boiled in water, and it will be much faster. And tip number 4 of this slide is, if you have a slow cooker, like all of your cookers are slow cookers, they are very tolerant. It doesn't mean I mean, if you have half an hour more, half an hour less of cooking time, usually it doesn't change a lot. And you can put all your ingredients in the beginning, like even if your recipe says start with this and 5 minutes later you put the other one and 5 minutes later you put something else. Usually in solar cooking you just put everything in the beginning and there it is. Yeah, I see in the chat also a tip that to soak the grains. Yeah, this is truth. Grains or beans which take a long time to cook, if you soak them, of course it will be faster. Thanks for this tip. Next slide, please. And then always use a lid. Well, I think we have seen on the picture sometimes there were no lid in the picture, but if you use a lid, cooking is twice as fast. This is not specific to solar. If you cook on electricity, if you cook on gas, if you cook on wood, using the lid, you save a lot of time and finally energy. If the lid is, if you make any demonstrations with your cooker in the street or on some jamboree, you use a glass lid. This is very nice, then everybody can see what's inside your pot. And do not open the lid if it's not necessary. If you open the lid to have a look at your meal, each time you lose 5 minutes of cooking, because it has to, you lose heat and this will take a few minutes to get hot again. So a slow cooker does not burn the things, and the food does not stick in a slow cooker. You don't need to open it very often. Just leave it the time you think it will take and then check it. The third tip on this slide, the smaller you chop your food, the quicker it will be ready. So if you put a complete potato to cook in a solar cooker, it will take quite some time. If you make little cubes of potato, it will be very quick. So the smaller every piece is, smaller it cooks. The last tip is, if you're in doubt that maybe it will not be finished by lunchtime because you put too much, or the sun is not too strong today, or you got guests and you want to cook a little more than the power of your cooker, whatever, it's always easy to boil first your meal, just 2-3 minutes on the gas or on electricity, and then when it's hot, you put it out to your cooker and let it finish an hour or two in the cooker. It works really well. It's not pure solar cooking, so it will be half solar cooking, but you can make like beans, which take 2 or 3 hours. You can make them by boiling them 5 minutes on the gas and let them finish in the cooker, which is a lot of gain of energy compared to having them 2 or 3 hours on the gas. So always in doubt, put it first on the gas, not in the end. And what is not on the cooking tips, of course, try recipes which are easy to start with. Start with the chocolate and melting cheese and white rice, vegetables, and so on.
No popcorns.
No popcorn to start with. Popcorn is also
Use
it's
it
for
later.
your master, for your master degree.